Hello, ambassadors of love. Welcome to your pre-recorded segment for Tuesday night. I'd like to begin with opening in prayer and pausing for just a few minutes so that we can get centered and grounded. Let's do this. All right. I welcome you to close your eyes as we invite love to be here. Love, thank you for being fully present in our lives. Thank you for lifting us up and holding us gently and lovingly, soothing our soul, inviting us to release our suffering and to recognize that there is only love. And everything else is an illusion. May we solidly and firmly and lovingly know this about ourselves and about our true identity. I ask that you would remove any barriers that would hinder our students from hearing this truth. Remove all obstacles. Grant our students eyes to see and ears to hear that which you are calling them to. And with that, we'll pause for a moment of silence to settle in and get centered. Okay, welcome back. So today's episode is going to be with regards to questions that we got prior to this recording. And we got one question, so we're going to do one answer, and this will be a shorter segment today. Would you like to begin?
I would. How about we turn that just a smidge? I'm almost top of it. Not that I need to be on film. All right, so our question came from Jessie, and she wanted to have us give some tools on how to help heal our children, how to prevent the wounds, how to help heal them, certainly how to prevent any further wounding with our kids. And as I was consulting with Love about that this morning, so just as a reminder, the creator of all of it is love. And so we use that term interchangeably with God. I really like using love interchangeably with God because we have a better understanding of what love is than of what, this illusion or this entity called God that can escape us in a myriad of ways, but we know how to connect with love. So I was consulting with Love this morning about what to share around this particular topic. And I think, the first very important part is that there are only and ever and always two states that we can be in. We can be in a state of love, or we can be in a state of fear. And the fruit that is showing up in us, inside of us and around us, is going to reflect back to us whether we have been operating from a state of fear or from a state of love. So healing begins with ourselves. And the only way that we can heal anyone else is when we do the work ourselves. This is what's required. And the only way that we can heal is being in a state of love. So Joe put up the screensaver that says, be here now, pause. So we have to be in a present state, because fear is a projection into the future and regret from the past, and we bring it into our present, and then we just recreate it all over again. So the only way that you can heal yourself is from a state of love. And in that state of love, there is no judgment, there is no punishment, there is no need to forgive because there are no offenses. And we have to be able to apply those things to ourselves first. So we have to learn to love ourselves. And Jesse, you wrote something really beautiful, beautiful post. Actually, I invite you to share that with this group. It was really cool. About serving others from this place of need rather than from true love. You call it unconditional love, and I'd like to suggest that there is no such thing as conditional love. That's the illusion. That's the old paradigm. That's the false imposter that has been posing as love in the majority of our lives, not being really love. Because when love is really present, which is who you are, it is you. And if you have an experience of yourself other than love, that was just part of the illusion. So this state of being, recognizing or coming to an awareness that your essence is love, and that it's only fear, the messiness of fear, the fruit of fear, that has gotten in the way of that essence shining through for yourself and for others. And when we come to that place, we can drop all the judgments. And it's not until we drop all the fear and all the judgments that we can be in this beautiful state and we can heal ourselves. Because what we're healing really is the illusion.
So we're giving you illusionary medicine for an illusionary condition that we all perceive as real.
Yeah, it's not real. And the way we're defining real is not that it's not the experience that you're having. It is the experience that you're having, but the only thing that is real, the only thing that is true, is what is eternal. And what is not eternal is fear. So, but love is eternal. It goes on after the personality and the body dies, and we lay that aside and we go on. Our essence is what continues to exist. So that is what is real, and that is who you are. You are not the mistakes that you've made. You are not the projection of the wounds that you have. You are not that. You are love. You are compassion. You are grace. You're beautiful. In every way, you're beautiful. And there's nothing to correct. There is only the illusions to set aside. So when we come to that place, do you have something to add to that? So when we come to this place where we really do experience ourselves as love and we really connect with that, then that's all we have to do for our children, is we just help them connect with their essence and help them see the illusions of everything else that is causing their suffering.
How do we do that, you might ask? And that's where the Enneagram comes in handy. It's the most profound tool for directly confronting our ego fixation, for identifying the very particular patterns we engage in, and then making a choice to pause, to be here now, present, not moving along with the fixation that you generally would make a choice for. So that means, what that really means is, as we begin to become more familiar with our ego's patterns, we choose the opposite. We choose to do what is opposite of that. And for me, that would be escaping off into fantasy. So I will often remind myself to be very present and to pay attention to what is actually happening around me, rather than looking like I'm present, but actually being in the future in my head. And that's one way that has profoundly shifted my awareness of who I am. And that's what we get to pass along to our children when we become familiar with our patterns. And as we continue to study the Enneagram and become familiar with our children's type and their patterns, we can more easily address the things, the places that our kids may be having blind spots to. Now, of course, you're young. If you have young children, this isn't going to necessarily mean anything to them. But if you've got, Jesse, as you do, teenage children, they can get their minds around this a little bit easier. And this will have a profound effect on reducing their suffering through the remainder of their lives. We must first understand our fixation and begin to model the dissolving of that, so that our children then can also be free, so that we're not going to be heaping on more harm in their lives by responding from our ego when they trigger us, rather than pausing, being present, and responding from a place of love.
Hope that makes sense. So there were three things that came up this week that were private from our group, but they were directed just specifically in a text. And it was regarding forgiveness and regarding trust. So when you know who you are, you don't take offense at other people's wounds. When you understand that we're all either in a state of fear or we're in a state of love, and that what our true essence is love, and what our ego is fear, we can start to see that the things that other people do and say that we perceive as being mean is coming from a place of their wound. And you can look at them and go and say to yourself, ooh, wow, they must be really wounded for them to say that kind of thing, or for them to do that kind of thing, or neglect that kind of thing. We can see it through the filter of their wounds and have compassion. And when you're able to do that, then no offense is initially taken in the first place. So there is no need even for the act of forgiveness, because we recognize that it is just the wound talking or behaving, and that we've done that ourselves. And when we can look at our own mistakes and all the things that we've done that we regret, and most of us have regrets, we can look at our past and go, I wish I wouldn't have done that, or I can see now how harmful that was, and I feel bad about that. But when you can learn to look at it through the filter of fear and woundedness, you can have grace for that and compassion for that and just release it. And if you don't release those things, then you require punishment, and punishment looks like suffering in one form or another. And that could look like, I'm not lovable, or I don't deserve to be loved because I did these things that were terrible, or I don't deserve to have friendships, or I don't deserve to have success because I did bad things, or because I am bad. And these are core beliefs that we, drag along with us through our life. So I'd like to suggest that to the degree that you are living in the state of love, in the awareness that your essence is love and that you are free and not guilty, but innocent and wounded, to that degree, you will have the capacity for forgiveness and to trust yourself, knowing that the creator of the universe dwells here and all the wisdom of the universe is right here, and you can learn to trust that. And you can learn to heal from that place and not from anywhere else. So getting into that, doing the work around that is your primary objective. It's how you should spend at least a couple of hours a day. Like, forget TV. Like, spend an hour or two really working on this understanding. And then the other thing is you have to do affirmative self-talk. I've been listening a lot lately to Marissa Peer, who is a very famous hypnotist, and she has a hypnotherapist, and she has an incredible record of healing people. And she says the number one issue that she works with everyone, and within 5 minutes she recognizes that it's here, is I'm not enough. And I'm not enough means I'm unworthy of being loved. Even though at a conscious level we can go, yeah, I'm lovable, yeah, I'm good, yeah, I've got these things. But if you keep sabotaging love in your life in one area or another, it's because subconsciously you don't believe you deserve to be loved. And you were programmed at a very, very infancy. In infancy, you picked up this message that I am not lovable. And that is too painful for any human being to live with. And so we develop all of these strategies to try to protect ourselves against that. So using affirmations is very, very important. Never again tell yourself or another person, and especially your children, that they are a problem, that there is anything wrong with them. Make a distinction between fear and love. Make a distinction between woundedness, the wounds that we project onto one another and harm one another with, and that comes from that place, and our innocence. Those are huge distinctions to make.
Yes. So then as we're moving forward and doing no harm with our children, there's less for them to unlearn later. There's less for them to heal later. And at the same time, you're helping them identify who they truly are. And what I'm seeing is in my oldest daughter, who's 25, is she is waking up at a far younger age than I did. And that is hopeful. That's hopeful for me. I think for all of us as parents, we want our children to be grounded and healthy and secure in who they are. And we found that this is the best way to promote growth and health and happiness.
Yeah, and the reason that she's able to wake up so quickly is because she's waking up at the pace that Joe is. He's just a little ahead of her, but he's been bringing her with him in conversation that he's been sharing with her about his process and how what he's been realizing, coming to understand, and what he's learning about his wounds and his essence, his ego, and his essence is his type 7, and he's been sharing this with her. And so she's just a few steps behind, paying close attention, because she also sees the results in her father's life. She sees his happiness and his freedom juxtaposed to her mother, who has a lot of, she's been introduced to things, but hasn't been integrating them into her life in such a way that it produces what Michaela is seeing and longing for in her father. So it's really beautiful. And by the way, I know, Jesse, you asked something about co-parenting. And because we don't have any control over what other people do, And when these families are divided and the children are spending some time with their father and some time with their mother, it's not that they're going to be a combination of both. They're going to move toward and pay attention to what they are ready for and what they long for. So if they want to continue to suffer, they'll continue to suffer with the parent that is suffering. But if they see something like Michaela sees in her father that she wants and she loves to, I mean, she is the one that named our home Sanctuary, because she felt like she was entering a sanctuary whenever she came to be with us, and she received so much healing when she was in our space. So we can't worry about and fear for our children because they have one parent that is quite dysfunctional, another parent who's been healing and moving along the path. They're paying attention.
Of course.
They really do see it.
So then the other point that Denise just made about sanctuary is create sanctuary in your home. Create sanctuary in your space with your kids where it's safe for them to have any conversation with you that they would like. If you want your children to tell you the truth, you have to create a space where they can tell you the truth without judgment, without fear of repercussion, without them feeling shamed. If you don't, they won't tell you the truth. So if you value your children telling you the truth, create a space in which it's a judgment-free zone of understanding and compassion. And then that's, boy, what a gift. What a gift you're being able to give your children in that way.
Yes, it's such a good point. Here's the little caveat to that. Because we cannot take others any further than we've gone ourselves, we can't pretend to not be judgmental. So if you are still judging yourself, you are by nature judging others. So in order to have a judgment-free zone, you have to perceive yourself as innocent and wounded and not deserving of punishment or shame or even correction. You know, we often tell not only our kids, but pretty much everybody, you're going to do this at your own rate, and that's okay. You are where you are because this is what you're ready for. And there's nothing bad or wrong about where you are. And I get that we want to be further along than we already are, but that is an illusion too. We need to go through the steps that we require. Raymond Hollywell says in Working with the Law, the 11 Laws That Govern the Earth, which is a spiritual book, he says that we attract what we require. And sometimes we require more suffering to awaken. And we have to be good with that with our children. We can't come in with anxiety and go, oh my God, you've got to do better. You've got to fix this. You've got to see yourself as innocent and wounded and don't judge yourself. And we bring in this anxiety because our kids aren't just hearing our words. The majority of what our children are hearing is our energy. So when you're in a state of love, guess what that energy feels like?
There's a quote, a business quote that I really like, and I think that applies here too, that says, people won't remember what you say, they will remember how you made them feel. Yeah. So as a parent, to foster a space where your children feel safe, that's the beginning of their healing, which we hope we've created here for you. Is that you feel safe so that you can receive the energy of this transmission, so that you can receive it with an open heart without guards up, or you can receive it with an open mind without your filters and guards up. That's how we grow, that's how we heal, that's how we let go, that's how we see more clearly the truth of who we are, is that we have to feel safe and trust in this process, that there's nothing wrong, There's nothing wrong with wherever any of us are. We start from that point always, and then we can make choices towards our healing or towards our being still, which is ultimately our healing. It's being still from our fixation. And that's why we also emphasize slowing down and pausing. I love that you said let go of TV if you are looking for more time to integrate these lessons. There, in our mind, there seems like there is nothing more important than doing this work. We wholeheartedly have committed the majority of our energy toward dissolving our egos. And as a result, we have a very different way of living and a very different way of being in this world that others respond to, which is why you're here, which is why you're attracted to us, which is certainly the guarantee that there is something in you that recognizes this truth and wants to embrace it more fully, more open-heartedly, more open-mindedly. So we applaud your courage. I applaud your courage for being present and doing this work. My oldest daughter told me the other day, she's like, this work is so hard, Dad. It can be so painful, facing those murky, shadowy things that we've suppressed and don't want to look at. And it is only painful and involving suffering until we actually do look at them. When we have the courage to look at them and bring them out into the light, we see them for the illusion that they are, and it no longer holds power over us. So this work is only a struggle as long as you're resisting it. And that's a lesson that we can have with our children as well. As if we're resisting our children, what they have to say, what their truth is, where they're at. If we're resisting them, we're missing the connection. So those are my thoughts on the best way to not inflict any further pain and help our children along. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this time. We encourage you to continue to participate in this and to make it a priority, to make this healing the highest priority in your life, in your relationships, and with that, we are being the change we wish to see in the world and in our children.
So just remember that in order to commit to doing something new, in order to have the results that you long for, that we've talked about, I mean, pretty much everybody in this group we've had conversations with about what it is that you're longing to experience, the peace, the freedom, the love. In order to have those things have to change in your world, and change is often resisted. So what our brain is committed to is familiarity, even if it's hard, hurts, and suffering is involved. It doesn't care. It's committed to what is familiar, because what is unfamiliar could be more dangerous than what is familiar. It doesn't know, so it's trying to protect us. So we have to let go of some things in order to usher in new things. And some of those things that we need to let go of can be, some of our perceived pleasures like TV. Joe and I, we lived in the RV for almost 5 years, and we only had DVDs or movies that we would watch occasionally. But for the most part, we didn't watch any TV. We're pretty out of the loop where news, whether it's fake or true, who knows, is concerned. So, and I know that, so you want to look at your life and you want to consider the things that you think are important and measure them against what you're committed to in doing this work, what you really long for yourself, for your family, for your business, because it touches everything. This work that we're inviting you to do touches every area of your life. Nothing will be excluded. And to the degree that you do the work will be the degree that every area of your life is impacted. So we encourage you to take a look at what you're doing with your time every day and see what you can eliminate so that you can add this new component of doing more work around your growth and your healing.
Jesus said that it's foolish to put new wine into old wineskins. And what we're offering you is the water that quenches the deep thirst that you have, and it requires a new container. So to the willingness that you're willing and able to let go of your old paradigms, of the old beliefs, and embrace and integrate this new paradigm is to the extent that you'll know yourself as love, that you will know yourself as peace, you will know yourself as eternally divine essence. That seems like a beautiful space to live in. I can affirm that this is what I've been longing for years and years and years and years, and it's a pleasure to be able to share this journey with you.
Yeah, and guys, the most difficult thing to incorporate into your schedule is stillness. It's what we avoid our whole life, is being still and looking inside and doing that holy healing work that's in my book. I'm pretty sure everybody here has my book. If you don't have a copy yet, you might want to get it, even if it's just for that.
You want to get it.
But that healing work is critical. Even in the work that we're doing, the reading, the things that we're learning about the Enneagram, and being free from the fixations requires you to be still and to go within and to see what's there and what needs to bring light into, what needs healing, and what is true, what the truth is that is there. And that you cannot get there by reading a book, by being on these calls, by doing a seminar. You can get the information, but you can't get there without being still. There has to be at least a 30 minutes to an hour of stillness and quiet in your day.
And then ask yourself, what's more important than that? What is more important than your peace? What are you selling out peace to try to fill your life with busyness or entertainment or pleasure or whatever it happens to be? What is more important? And no judgment from us. It's just, this is the question that you have to ask yourself. What am I committed to? And if you say that you're committed to peace, if you say that you're committed to love and healing, that's where you need to be investing your time and your energy. So,
I remember when Logan, my youngest, who's turning 25 next month, when he was a baby, I craved time with God so much that I would set my alarm for 4:30 in the morning so that I could get up and have 2 hours with him before Logan got up. Because once Logan was up, that was it. My day was over. Everybody was getting up, but he was a handful. But I am a champion sleeper.
yes.
I mean, I'm the poster child for sleeping, and I love my sleep, but I was far more hungry and longing for my connection with God than I was to have my head on a pillow for an extra 2 hours. So that became a big priority for me. So that's kind of one of the ways you can look at what am I, because really when you look at it that way, it's like, well, what am I selling this experience that I long for? What am I selling it for? Sleep, entertainment, whatever kind of busyness that we can occupy our lives with, too much stuff.
Too much social media, there's
too big of a house.
there's a myriad of ways that this illusion manifests to distract us from who we are.
Yes.
And so as you continue on with us, this is the question: what is your healing and your peace? What is it worth? And to that extent, you will experience, and you're going to have to let go of many things, physical things and ideas and concepts, and we're bringing you along at your own pace. This life is a self-paced course. So
is this course.
And so is this course. That's right. And so is our program here tonight. It's a self-paced course for us. Thought this was going to be a lot shorter, but apparently we had a lot more to say. Spirit had a lot to say through us. So we hope you've enjoyed it. We will look forward to connecting with you again next week, live again, and in the Facebook group throughout the week. If you have more questions or comments or concerns or praise reports or whatever it is that you're feeling, we'd love to connect with you there as well. Until then,
invite a friend.
Oh, invite a friend, yes. Or two, or a village.
Yeah, or a village. We'll love them up real good.
Okay, we love you.
Cheers
Cheers
to
to
love.
love.
Bye, guys.